All right, hello everybody, Algebra 1, let's do this. For today, lesson number 6, we will be doing the distributive property. So just a reminder, remember, please be active, take notes with me, pause when you need to, take your time, try some problems on your own, make sure you check during the video, and enjoy the show. So here, on a piece of loose leaf paper, just have this is going to be lesson number 6, have the date. This is a distributive property, I'll show it in a second. And one idea that we're going to practice together is how do we multiply fractions, right? So here for the distributive property, I feel like you already know this concept, but we still need to practice it. That here, if I have some number a outside the parentheses and I have some b plus c in the center, here I'm just going to distribute a times b is ab, and then a times c is ac for all values of a, b, and c in the real number set. Don't worry about that notation. But okay, so you should have this worksheet over here. And let's take a look at some of the examples. What I want you to do is, if you feel like you're good and you know how to do these problems, then don't even wait for me. Just pause the video, try some problems on your own. Use the calculator if you need to. Don't use the calculator, up to you, but try and go through some of the questions. If you feel very strong with this concept, then the ones with the fractions should be really, really good for us. But if you feel like you need a review, let's do each question step by step. Okay, so let's take a look. Let me get a good camera angle. I think this is pretty good, just like that. Okay, so here, what I want you to do is just pause the video. What do you think is the first move? What do you think is the first move, right? How would you do this first question, number 1? Let's see. So here, we need to distribute 7 times x, right? And then 7 times 4, right? And then here, what is 7 times x? That's just 7x. 7 times 4 is 28. So then here, we're just going to have 7x plus 28. Easy peasy, easy peasy. If you need to use the calculator, go for it. But what you should do is you should try and do the calculation. You should try and think what it is first before you use the calculator. Okay, next one. What do you do? This is going to be 2 times b, 2 times negative 3. 2 times b, 2 times negative 3, right? What's 2 times b? That's just 2b. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Look at that. You know how to do this. You don't need my help. Let's try the next one. Take your time. Be patient. Pause the video. Try it on your own, right? Here, you do negative 4 times y is negative 4y. Negative 4 times a positive 3. This will be negative 12. Okay, next one. Here, negative 5 times m, right? Negative 5 times m is just negative 5m. And what is negative 5 times negative 2? Right? What would this be? This would be positive 10. And if you want, maybe you could take a second and write in your notes very quickly just what happens if I have a positive times a positive, positive times a negative, negative times a negative, negative times a positive, right? What would these answers, what should this be, right? A positive times a positive is positive, positive times negative is negative, negative times negative is positive, negative times positive is negative, right? So just a quick a quick refresher, you should know this. And if you don't, then have this in your notes, right? And then use this when I say pause the video and try on your own, take your time to try and go through some of the questions, right? Okay, let's keep going. Let's try the next one here. So here, notice this is, what's outside this parentheses? It's a negative 1. So that's another way of writing this problem if you want. It's negative 1 times y minus 9. So what is negative 1 times y? It's just negative y, right, if I were to distribute this. And what's negative 1 times a negative 9, right? What is negative 1 times negative 9? That should just be positive 9, right? We're just multiplying the two numbers. Okay. What would this be? This would be... And class, remember, for each problem, don't just watch me do everything, okay? If you're doing that, take your hand and pow pow. Do not just watch me do everything. Pause the video every time and try the problem on your own and then check it, okay? Because if you just watch me do everything, you're never going to learn, right? 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times negative b is negative 8b, okay? And if you want to be fancy, what's another way of expressing this? You could just show it as negative 8b plus 32, right? Because here you want the variable first. Okay, let's try this one. This will be negative 4 times negative w is positive 4w. Negative 4 times negative 10 is positive 40. Okay, next one. 10m, negative 15. Remember, hopefully you are trying this on your own and you are not just watching me. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. Okay. 3 times m is 3m. 3 times n is 3n. X times y is just xy. And x times 4 is just 4x. Okay. Next one. D times c is dc. D times negative 4 is negative 4d. Okay. 6a times b is 6ab. Then what is 6a times 2c? 6 times 2 is 12. A times c is just ac for whatever values of a and c. Okay, next one. 2 times x, 2 times negative y. 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, for this one, x times 2y is 2xy. X times negative 5z is negative 5xz. Or you could say 5zx. Either one works. And x times 1 is just x, right? X times 1 is just x. Okay. All right, let's get to the juicy one. Here, how do you multiply a whole number? I'm sorry, how do you multiply a fraction to a whole number? So what we could do is, I'll show it over here. How can I multiply 1 over 4, right? Because I need to distribute this 1 over 4 times 8x, right? I have to do that one first. Okay, well, all you do is you just take this 8 over x and you put it over 1. Because if I have any number, let's say, I don't know, 3 is the same as 3 over 1. You're just showing it like this, because here, let's just take a second to look at our notes, right? Take a look at our notes. How do we multiply fractions, right? It doesn't matter what the numbers are. For all values, a, b, c, and d, if I'm multiplying fractions, all I need to do is multiply the top and then multiply the bottom. Or what's a fancy word when I say multiply the top? Multiply the, hopefully you remember this vocabulary, numerator. And then what do we call the bottom part? We call it the denominator. Okay? So you're just multiplying the numerators and multiplying the denominators. So let's take a look over here. what would you do? Here, let me multiply the numerator. So 1 times 8x is 8x. 4 times 1 is 4. And then ask yourself, can I divide these two? Can I do 8 divided by 4? You can. 8 divided by 4 is just 2, and then you leave the x. Right? And then what does this 2x represent? It represents a fourth of 8x. A fourth of 8x is 2x. And then how would I do this? What is 1/4 of negative 4? Right? What is a fourth of negative 4? Well, I put this negative 4 over 1, right? Because negative 4 is equal to negative 4 over 1, right? I could just express this negative 4 as negative 4 over 1. And then you multiply the numerator, which is negative 4 over 4. And what is negative 4 divided by 4? Pause the video. Don't just rush and wait for me to solve it. What do you think it'll be? Just negative 1. So then I just get 2x minus 1. What I'd like you to do is try some of these on your own. Pause the video. Try this on your own. Okay? How would you multiply these? Okay? Okay, so let's say if you want to see the answer or you want to see how it's done, right? I'm going to multiply first 1/6 times 3 over 5x, right? So now don't get confused with this x on the right side. It doesn't matter if it's here or here, and maybe I could explain that in class, but all you're doing is multiplying the numerator, right? So 1 times 3 is just 3. 6 times 5 is 30. And then notice the x's here. Now, if you want to be a little bit, what we should do is we should simplify this. Now, when you want to simplify a fraction, like let's say 3 over 30, ask yourself, what is the greatest, my bad, let me zoom out a little bit. What is the greatest common factor of 3 and 30? It is 3. Because 3 is the largest factor of 3 and 30. So what you could do is you could divide the top and the bottom by 3, right? And then I just get 1 over 10. Because 3 divided by 3 is 1, 30 divided by 3 is 10. So I get 1/10 x. So then now here, you could show this as 3 over 30x, but really you should really show that as 1 over 10x. Okay? And then here, if I do 1/6 of 18, that should be, what's a 6 of 18? That's just 3. If I were to do this same process with, like if I were to do 1 over 6 of 18, right? 1 over 6 of 18, put this over 1, then I have 18 over 6, and that's 3, which goes here. Okay. Next one, what would this be? What's negative 1 times 4? That's negative 4. 8 times 5 is 40. X. But then how can, because like if I multiply these two, right? But then how, this is really the same as what? Negative 1/10 x, right? Because if I were to divide the top and bottom by 4. And then here, 1/8 of, well, maybe I could show this one on the side as well. What is negative 1/8 times negative 24? I put that over 1. Negative 1 times negative 24 is positive 24. Divided by 8 is 3. So then if I were to distribute this to this, right, the negative 1 over 8 to the negative 24, I should just get 3. Okie dokie. Here, you can do this. Try and combine these, right? These get very, very tricky. what I'm going to do is, because I don't have time, I'm going to put the solutions. Try these questions with your friends in your group, and then we'll go over some of the questions in class, right? And then for homework should be this page over here, all right? I feel like when we're practicing this topic, like these questions 1 to 8 are going to be easy. I think it's just the fractions we need to practice together. Okay, I believe in you. Very proud of you. Bobo the monkey is also proud of you. High five. All right, I'll see you in class.